And we are live, my friends, once again here at Agents in the Trenches. Every Friday at noontime, we bring together some valuable updates, highlights, showcases information. And of course, one of the things that I love the best is surrounding myself with frontline leaders that are winning, that have been in our marketplace for years, that have a trajectory, and that come from a spirit of contribution and collaboration, and that are out there in the trenches with other agents, right, in our marketplace, and they're seeing exactly what's going on. So today I have two incredible pioneers of the real estate industry here in Southwest Florida. I've got George V from B&M at Security National, B&M Group at Security National, and I've got my friend Bob Cantu from A Handy Home Inspector. And you know what? It just lights up my heart, because when I think of these two frontline leaders, these pioneers, these businessmen that are out there making a difference in our real estate industry, it takes me back because we met so long ago. So I'm going to let George V introduce himself real quick. And as soon as you're done, George, we'll hand it over to Bob Cantu. But thank you so much for joining us here at Agents in the Trenches, along with my co-host, Talia Miranda. Thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon, folks. George Vukicevic with V&M Mortgage at Security National Mortgage. It's been in the business here in this area since '94, in the business for over 20 years. And, really enjoy working in this market, helping people be able to, achieve that dream, which is obviously a purchase home. And that's what we do. We help clients get from being renters to be able to purchasing. We help investors be able to increase their portfolio and help them expand in Southwest Florida.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to continue this conversation and learn a lot more about George V and what he does and his incredible team. But next up, we've got A Handy Home Inspector, the one and only Bob Cantu. How you doing, Bob? Welcome. Tell us about you.
Doing great. Thanks for having me today. And I've been doing home inspections for over 15 years now. Obviously, I've known Lucy pretty much all those years. We're located in Cape Coral. We have everything in-house with regards to a full home inspection service, from mold, radon inspections, indoor air quality testing, well water testing, as well as drones and sewer scopes. Anything that you need, we can do. We also own a marine contracting company named Coastal Marine Group. We also own a pest control company called Harrison's Pest Control, and a mold remediation company called Smart Environmental Solutions. So we have you covered when it comes to anything home inspection related.
Love it. Thank you so much. So let's kick it off with the million-dollar question. What are you guys seeing happening in our area? I know each of you have very innovative things that you do. George, you've been working with builders forever. I mean, you are the one that's out there visiting the builders, talking to them, putting creative things together. What else are you doing? And then we'll hand the mic over to Bob. What do you see happening, and what are you doing to stay innovative in this market?
Absolutely. So this is a very interesting market, right? We come from being super spoiled post-COVID to right now, where you really have to have a strong marketing campaign, a strong presence on social media to be able to survive in this market. And we've teamed up with several of our builders where we're able to get agents sit in there and do open houses, help promote the properties via their social media platform, their sphere of influence, and help that builder and get that property sold. And we've been very successful. We've actually been able to, every single builder we've teamed up with to do an open house and get that additional exposure out there, that builder has sold their property. So I'm very proud and able to say that. I'm also teaming up here with a builder here locally that I'm supposed to meet with next week, that is really focusing on doing affordable homes, and they're what we call tiny homes. So that's something that Lucy, I look forward to talking to you more about, really pushing that to really provide affordability here in Lee County. I mean, some of these houses, we're looking for affordable housing, it's going to be below $250,000 or even a $200,000 mark to help people get into a home without having to have like a $27,000 or $3,000 mortgage payment.
Wow. Innovation is everything. Bob, you do a whole bunch of things. You were at our last Southwest Florida Real Estate Mastermind, and you did your little pitch. But when you left, everybody was like, I want to talk to him. Give us a snippet of these things that you're doing that are really creating a huge leverage, right? For not only the agents, but also the buyers or the sellers?
Yeah, so as we all know, the market shifted. There's a lot of listings out there. And what we did is we created what's called a pay at close program that will help new home buyers or sellers kind of facilitate some of the things that are required by an insurance company. So insurance companies require for the air conditioning, electrical, roof, and plumbing systems to be in adequate condition. Otherwise, they don't want to insure it and it's got to be replaced. We all know that a lot of times the sellers don't have $8,000 for an air conditioning system. So what we do is we provide the service at no upfront cost. It gets put into a repair escrow, and then we get paid once the job's complete. So we'll do that, all the way up to $50,000, $60,000 per home. Granted, of course, it's a safe investment on our end. So the last one we did was a roof and an air conditioning system. It came out to about $20,000, and that just got put in the repair escrow. We got paid at close. It's all above board. Most title companies and lenders understand it very well. But we have this on our website. I don't know if my camera will pick that up, but it's called Pay at Close. It's a very easy way to just get those things handled for perhaps your new home buyers or people on a budget, and it allows us to make the home insurable, of course, moving forward.
So while Dalia chimes in here in a second, and I know she's posting some of the highlights of what you're talking about, and I want to tell everybody who is watching this live or watching this on replay, give us a hashtag, share it. We're all about contribution. What would be your number one advice? You guys have been in the market for a very long time. We've seen the things that have happened in the past. What do we tell the agents that are out there wondering what to do, right? Because there's so many of them. We've had 90,000, according to the NAR statistics, already leave the industry, but there's some that are out there still hanging on. George, what do you see happening, and what would be your number one advice for them?
So, you have to embrace change. Just because the market is shifting, I think it's a good thing. There were a lot of agents that were in the business that didn't have the quite experience that you need to be. This is a challenging market, and I think this market is going to determine who's gonna stay in for the long haul versus agents that just came in because it was easy to take a picture with your cell phone and post it and get 10 offers within 5 minutes of me posting that. This is where you really differentiate yourself from the people that have the knowledge, experience in this market to be able to educate sellers. That's the biggest thing right now. Sellers aren't realistic at certain price points. The market is really moving on anything below 400, sub 400, depending on areas, sub 350, stuff like that is really moving very quickly because people need a place to live and people want to pay high rents. So, for the agents that were used to doing 3 or 4 deals a month and now they're doing 1 deal a month, that's the reality is right now, is that you have to spend a little bit more, invest more in yourself to be able to do the same amount of business that you were doing in the past. That being said, houses still being sold, mortgages still being done, people are still buying. So don't lose faith and feel that this is the end of the world. That's not the case by any means. As a matter of fact, the Feds were supposed to reduce and cut rates earlier this year. They have not done that because the market has not slowed down enough for them to do that. So that's an indication to let you know that houses are being sold and the Feds are not lowering the rate because the housing market has not slowed down enough. So that being said, that's just kind of like my take on this. We are seeing builders provide large incentives for buyers, and most of the builders that they're still providing that, the buyer's agent commission, which is a very hot topic for agents right now, right, Lucy?
Yes, absolutely. There's so many things that are going to make agents have to level up, right? Things that they should have done many years ago, actually from the beginning. And now they're going to have to do that. So Bob, chime in real quick and tell us, you're seeing it from a whole other perspective, right? What would you recommend?
Yeah. Thanks, Lucy. So what we suggest, of course, to anybody selling houses, give us a chance to do what's called a pre-listing inspection. And what we do is we come on through and we'll just kind of note the items, because you're working with a seller who thinks they're going to get what the house was worth in, let's go back even a year ago. Times have changed. It's not going to work that way anymore. So via the pre-listing inspection, we're able to show your seller, hey, these are items that should be fixed, and that's where the pay at close program works better. Hey, for this to be insurable, let's have this company put a new air conditioning for you, put a new roof on for you, so that way you can actually list it and sell it within an adequate timeline. Because what happens is, you as agents, you go there sometimes and you'll be ran by your client. Don't let that happen. Be wise. You're there to guide your client and manage your client. So part of that is, hey, we really need to do something about this roof, because it's going to be a problem unless someone's going to pay cash for this house. A lot of times, a $400,000 house is not going to be cash. We get financed through George, and to get it insured, we're going to have these things corrected. And at that same time, let's do a little bit of minor landscaping, anything to take away some of these little ticky-tack maintenance items, so that we've got something very presentable. Not only that, you're going to get 10% more for the home for the seller. So that gives you leverage to let them know, hey, I know you're shopping for agents, but I'm going to get you 10% more, and this is how. So work with us, guys. We'd love to help guide you on that end, and we're always available to talk.
And I think that's really interesting. Dalia, do you have any questions you want to chime in? And by the way, we've got some veterans. Actually, we've got also some pioneering real estate agents that I know have been in the industry since at least the year 2005, if not longer, watching on live. So guys, if you are there and you have any questions, I'm sure you guys all know George V from B&M Security National, and Bob Cantu, the handy home inspector, two great pioneers. So chime in, ask us questions, and give us some likes so we can increase the algorithm, guys. This stuff is like, we've got to be learning how to increase the algorithm every day. But
so I do have a question real quick for Bob on that pre-listing inspection. Is that also rolled into the closing? Like, is that something that they pay at closing, or do they have to pay upfront for the pre-listing inspection?
Yes, so there's two options. One is we take and hold a credit card, and we can wait till the home closes. But there's also our software that we utilize allows it to go through like a firm, a lending type facility as well. So there's two options there. That way, once again, we get it that out-of-pocket money sometimes is a bit too much. And these inspections are not cheap. They're over $500. So yeah, we can push those off and get paid at closing.
That's awesome. Great. I want to go back to the tiny homes, George.
Yes.
Tell us more about those tiny homes, because I shared with you, my heart is all about affordable housing, right? I believe that the American dream has to come through for everyone. We all know right now we've kind of eliminated a lot of the first-time home buyers because of the interest rates and because of the ratios and because of what's happening. But we can still make that American dream of home affordability possible. Tell us more about that project, because I think that's so interesting.
So yeah, this project is a builder in this area. I've been on a mission here trying to provide affordable homes here in Lee County, because it's such an important need over here that we all have. So these affordable homes are going to start with a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home. The newer generation, they're always working. They just want something that they can call home, right, of their own. And it doesn't have to be something that's 4-bedroom or 2,000 square feet. They're looking at something that, it can be their own place. They can come home. Nobody has to be worrying about, can you hear your neighbor flush the toilet, things of that nature. So these homes are going to start with a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home. I'm meeting with the owner next week. One of the challenges that he's having is funding, right? Because not every builder has that mentality, because the margins are very skinny, right? Typically, builders want to be in a position where they build a house and they make the most money off of the sale, and that's why they build. You have to have somebody who's really dedicated and motivated to do these tiny homes where the profit margins are very slim, in order to help the public. And that's one thing that most builders don't have, that vision. And most builders don't want to, work so hard to have such a small board for them. But I will share more with you that
Yes,
next one, and maybe we can have him as a guest as well, so he can talk about his
absolutely.
project, and hopefully we can get the necessary funding so that he can start producing at a larger scale here in Lee County. The county's actually given him several grants to the tune of up to $20 million. So we're
Wow.
really excited about that. So after my meeting with him next week, maybe we can bring him on the show as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so that leads me to asking Bob, so have you done any home inspections on a tiny home? Because I know they're popping up all around in many different areas. I actually went to Puerto Rico. I went on an adventure. I didn't have a hotel room. I literally said, I'm just going to go wherever the breeze takes us. And I jumped on, it was like every day we went from one city to the next, and wherever the sun was starting to come down, I would say, okay, where are we staying? We actually booked something right on the beach. And when we check in, my husband goes, this is a container, right? I'm like, what do you mean this is a container? It was a container. And it was so cute and it was so adorable. I literally ran outside. I'm like, what do you mean this is a container? So I love this. And I think that we have a huge market for this as well, like you just said. But Bob, have you done a home inspection on one of these things?
It is so funny you mentioned the container, but yes, we inspected a container house. I want to say in Lehigh, my field manager said, "You're not gonna believe this, but look at this." So yeah, it was a container that was a home, and it had some other wood frame structure off of it, but the main part was a container. So yes, we have.
Wow.
That's one of our builders we're working with now as well, where they prefabricate these homes on site and then they deliver them, and you could have your house ready in 30 days.
Get out.
So you build the home, and by the time of construction and completion, they ship it and they deliver it. And there's actually a builder in Lehigh who has done a duplex container home. So we're seeing that the tiny homes that I'm talking about, though, those are actually concrete homes. But there's two different builders we're talking about here that are going to provide that, these affordable housing that we're really working very hard on, as far as bringing them into here into Lee County and being able to ride those affordable homes.
Wow. Talia, you were going to ask?
Well, no, I'm just curious on like how the inspections go on a container home, because that's a container. So like, how is that different from a regular single family concrete home?
So of course, we're there noting structural conditions, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical. So it's just like a home, except for the exterior is different. Now, when you think of a home, all homes, the exteriors sometimes are different. Sometimes they're made out of concrete block, sometimes they're made out of wood frame. So it's still a home inspection, basically. So yeah.
That's cool.
So, this is the part that I love about this. We've got a shout out, hello from Maribel Valerio. Hi, George, right? If someone is watching here and obviously they're one of Bob Cantu's, raving fans, say hello. We've got people watching. But here's what I love about Agents in the Trenches, right? That we don't even anticipate where the conversation is going to go, because this is totally organic and authentic. And here are the two of you, pioneers, just bringing innovative things for our community to hear. I love that part. I love that. I mean, that's what I love about this whole thing. So what else do you guys want to share? We've got about 10 minutes. What else do you think is important to share?
Thanks, Lucy. So, Bob, it's so important what you do, because a lot of these sellers are looking to sell their home because they're looking to upgrade to something newer. However, when you're selling an older home, you're competing with new construction, right? Where somebody wants to buy a house and they're buying new construction for the peace of mind that it's new construction. So if you're buying an existing home and you have addressed and checkmarked every concern that a well-respected handyman or home inspector has gone through and covered every single aspect of the house, that is a huge selling point. And that's something that sellers just don't really pay mind to. They feel, well, my house I'll throw some paint on it and it'll be worth, $100,000 more. And that's not the case. We had a file right just last week that the roof is 8 years old and the buyer wanted a new roof on an 8-year-old roof, and the deal fell through because of that. So buyers' expectations in this market are very high. Like, they have a lot of choices to choose from, so making your house stand out is so important. So I do want to make sure that everybody realizes how important services that Bob offers, but more importantly, the fact that the large ticket items is something that you can do at closing should be a no-brainer. I mean, if you're serious about selling your house, you should be serious about making that investment.
Thanks, George. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because we have to work with the lender on the process and part of it, and the title company as well for the repair escrow. And it makes everybody's life easier knowing that we have a good quality product being put out there on the market that will shine. So part of what we also do is, I'll give you an example. We're building 3 docks right now for a listing agent who can't get these houses to move because the docks are destroyed and they're just sitting there. So we got the emails and we're contracting, and these are, give you an example, they're basic docks. It's just enough of a boardwalk and then a 10,000-pound lift. So that way, what happens is people come on in and they're like, well, I have a boat, or I'm gonna buy a boat and I wanna put it behind my house now. And so they're doing the pay at close with us. We're contracting with the sellers, and it's all gonna get pushed into close, and we're gonna build those docks for them. Now, the cool thing, George, is we don't do any hard credit pull. We're a general contractor. We just get the NOC, so we're recorded with the title company. That's our assurance that we will get paid, because we're on the title saying, hey, I need to get paid. So there's no credit pull that will interfere in anything you're doing on the lending side.
That's so important. As you mentioned, so many people don't understand that while you're doing a mortgage, you can't have hard inquiries or have your credit pulled for financing other items, because then that adds to your debt to income ratio that could potentially disqualify you. When we're talking a large ticket item, that obviously makes sense. So that's awesome when you guys do that.
And speaking of veterans, I think you mentioned veterans earlier. Since we own Harrison's Pest Control, we're able to do free WDO, letters, termite inspections for our veterans. We do that for free, and we also give a 10% discount for our veterans to say thanks for serving.
That's incredible.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Bob mentioned that, but for financing, it's required. A veteran has to have a WDO inspection, which is a wood destroying organism report, in order for them to get financing. So it's a requirement. Companies charge to do that.
Saves $100.
Yep. So again, another no-brainer to use Bob here when you're trying to purchase or sell your property here in the county.
It's funny you said WDO, right? I remember when I first got into real estate in 2000, and I was out there, dreaming about taking over the world of real estate in Cape Coral. It's crazy because, guys, listen, when I got into real estate and I went to work at Century 21 with the man that became my business partner, but he was my broker back then. I remember someone said, you got to get a WDO. Literally, I thought they were talking about like a WD-40. I didn't know what a WDO was. So I wrote it on the comments, because, you just don't know what you don't know. We've got 7 minutes left. What do you see happening in the next 12 months? Let's do some projections. I've been coaching with Tony Robbins for nonstop 12 months. I decided to rediscover, reinvent, repackage, relaunch, reposition my life in so many ways. And, one of the things he talks about in his business mastery is entrepreneurs and business owners must anticipate what's to come. Let's have an open conversation. What are you guys anticipating from what you are able to see in your perspective? George?
So what I see is happening is, as the market moves forward, the Feds are going to eventually have to lower the interest rates. When they do that, there's still not enough inventory, and that's why the housing market hasn't quite slowed down. Over here in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral specifically, we felt it more, where we have over 3,000 homes available right now, and our inventory is probably over 12 months of inventory, which is a lot of that stuff is just stuff that's overpriced. sellers are not realistic about really selling their home. So again, as agents, educating the sellers on saying, look,
Mhm.
you have to be
Right.
realistic about what the market's supporting, and you having a number in mind, but what the market's bearing is maybe different. So
Mhm.
bring those both in terms so that we can actually sell some of these houses and get them off the market is what agents have to do to educate. It's a very uncomfortable conversation, but as an agent, you have to have that conversation with the seller in order for that inventory to move. And
Absolutely.
if you don't do that, then we're going to still continue to have all this stagnant inventory on there. And one of the things that you have to do is to separate yourself from the competition, and the competition is new construction, right? New construction has closing cost incentives, warranties, all these things that buyers are going to want to have. And if you as a seller don't have anything to compete with that, let's say your roof is 10 years old and you're like, you know what, we'll go ahead and throw a new roof in there. Or we'll go ahead and put a brand new air conditioning unit, even though it's only 5 or 6 years old. Just whatever it is that it's going to make them separate themselves from the competition. That's very important. But
Wow.
educating them on different programs. So as you know, July 1st, the Hometown Hero program is coming back, right? Additional incentives for buyers to step into the market, which is great. We at Security National, we actually have our own down payment assistance program. We actually have 6 different programs that will help buyers up to 5% down towards their closing costs and down payment. And some of our programs are forgivable after 3 years. So after 3 years, you no longer have to pay that back as long as you made your mortgage payments on time and you meet the criteria. But
Wow.
these are things that we try and we're doing and co-branding ourselves with all the agents in the area to really educate the public out there that there are down payment assistance programs
Mhm.
that are from the state, from the county, in-house from our own company, incentives to help people buy. And that's what's really going to push the market in that direction and move that needle is making those houses at a realistic price, helping educating the buyers that there are down payment assistance programs to help them for the down payment and closing costs, and being able to get to that next step as far as selling being realistic on making sure that houses are ready to be sold and also making sure that they're priced right.
I love it. I love it. Bob, what do you anticipate having or seeing happen? And what would you say?
So super good question because it segues into what George does as far as being a lender. So go way back when I bought my first house, I had to spend a year getting my financial stuff in order. So if you're an agent, these people who are sitting going, oh, I'm going to wait till interest rates drop and this and that, have them start working with George so that way there's anything perhaps that they need to clean up in their finances and they can start creating this financial goal to make sure they can, of course, qualify for a loan. So I spent 1 year, and 1 year later, I went back to the lender I worked with. I said, I'm ready. I did everything you said. They said, no kidding, you are ready. And I bought my first home. So if you have anybody who's sitting there on the sideline, George is a resource to help your buyers get ready to buy a home. And if they're saying they're waiting, it's a perfect time to start having them getting their financial house in order.
I love it. I love it. And that reminds me, and I'm going to ask you guys here in live. I want everyone that's on right now. We've got a nice group watching live, and then everybody's going to watch on the replay. I want you guys to partner up with me because I am bringing a one-of-a-kind home buyers seminar to the area, and it's just exactly for that. There are people out there that need to get with George. They need to get diagnosed. That's what I call it. I come from the medical field. Okay, what do I need to do to be home buyer ready, right? And then they need to know what you do, Bob, right, in that process. And so my team and I are going to be launching a one-of-a-kind home buyer program. So I hope you guys say yes to that invitation. And I don't want to keep you any longer than I promised, but I do want to publicly thank the both of you for believing in the vision and the mission of the Southwest Florida Real Estate Mastermind. This is going to be George's first time participating. So thank you, George. And this is going to be Bob's second time. We've broken all records. Southwest Florida is hungry and ready, and we need pioneers like yourself. So thank you so much. You're not going to be disappointed with what's going to take place next Wednesday. But in closing, I want you guys to just take it away. So George and then Bob, give us your last words to close.
So in closing, guys, Lucy, thanks again for having us on here. What you do is tremendous for our community. You really mover and shaker here in this area, and it's so important that people see that and they value it and they respect you tremendously in the community, Lucy. So thanks again for having me. I really appreciate that. As Bob mentioned earlier, people that are on the sidelines about rates are the way they are right now, but they're not going to be like this forever. The cliche is, marry your home and date your rate, right? So you buy your house now, and in the later time you can refinance at a lower interest rate so that payment's a little bit more affordable for you. Is that a guarantee? No, but at the end of the day, you're paying right now 100% interest on your rent, 100%. Every penny that you spend is interest because you can't write it off as a rent. When you buy your home, whatever the interest rate is going to be compared to whatever it is that you can afford to pay at a later date when rates come down. So with that, guys, don't just stay on the sidelines. If you're not ready, reach out to a professional so that they can educate you, get you ready so that you know what you need to do in order to make that next step and be a homeowner.
Absolutely. Bob, what do you say?
I just got to say to anybody watching that you might need to be hearing this right now. And so, the wisdom, the form that Lucy has created for you guys, it's there for a reason. She's pouring herself into that. And so if you needed to hear anything today, be sure and thank Lucy. And thank you, Lucy, for having us on today.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for great leaders like yourself. There's no I in vision or in teamwork. So we make the dream work. Thank you so much, guys. Talia, close it out. I think this was incredibly invaluable. And I know we've got to bring a workshop together, George, Bob, and us, and really serve our agent population. Take it away, Talia.
Yes, well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to accept the invitation to be a guest here on Agents in the Trenches. We really appreciate it. And I just want to shine light real quick on Michelle's comment. She said, thanks for the great info. Very informative for a new agent like myself. Thank you all, which is what Agents in the Trenches is all about. We want to bring you great information. So if you found this valuable, please reach out to us, give us some likes, follow Bob, follow George on their social media. They're great people, and follow us, of course. But until next Friday, thank you so much for watching Agents in the Trenches. We will see you next Friday. Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
There you go.
Really good.
Take care.